Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the J-Rock Show. Happy Friday, as always. Thank God it's Friday. It's been such a long, chaotic week here from the SimWorld TV studios here in the great state of Houston, Texas. And it's been an interesting couple of days. We had the preseason top 25 and the All-Americans be released yesterday. And I don't think a lot of you know how that works. I was supposed to have Kenyon Young or Jackson Sutton. Kenyon Young's pushed back to next week. Jackson Sutton, that's on the back burner until we figure out his technical problems. But I just want to spit some wisdom this week. This is going to be a short episode from JK to you all. And I just kind of want to provide some knowledge where I can. And starting with the top 25 is I'm a voter for this top 25. Not every team I deemed worthy of being in the top 25 wound up getting ranked. Like, there were some really, really, really big snubs where in that voters meeting, and there was a lot of controversy surrounding it because there are certain teams, there were guys that had Syracuse ranked. I had Syracuse ranked, but not enough of consensus thought Syracuse would be that good under Drayton. They won 0 games last year. They're a hard team to rank after the product you saw last season, and there's a lot of moving parts that go into something like this. You guys are very quick to judge and tweet with your little Twitter fingers, but walk a mile in someone else's shoes, because my job is not easy. It is hard. It is a lot of scrutiny. But the things that were very consensus were the top 5 or 6. I had Duke a little bit lower. I had North Carolina a little bit higher than other people do. But that top 5 of Villanova, Alabama, SMU, Illinois, Texas, that was my top 5. I think you can throw SMU in there, but with Barkley James hurt, they kind of got a little bit disciplined. They reached the quad. I think they're a fantastic team. But I think people are forgetting that this Illinois team made the grade 8. Illinois has D'Angelo Jordan coming back. They got Zay Gore and Kyrie Holtzclaw stepping into the starting lineup, and they're pretty much the same core that just reached the grade 8. And they only lost because they faced an Xavier team that just shut them down. That was sizzling hot. They deserve to kind of be 10s, teens. I'm a little higher on them. I think they deserve to be top 10 because I think D'Angelo Jordan is a firm Big Ten Player of the Year frontrunner. I think he's a Naismith frontrunner. So I'm kind of a little bit higher on them than most. As for Kansas, I think they deserved a top 10. I think they deserve where they are, and Duke and SMU. There's a lot. But Texas Tech was a team that I was very high on. In that meeting, I said I think that Texas Tech is a borderline top 12 team in SimWorld U. You lose Malik McNeil, you bring in 2 5-stars in DJ Amber and Jordan Belmont, and then you bring in Cyrus Jackson too, and that's going to be a very good basketball team. They have a lot of size, and I think they're kind of a dark horse in the Big 12. Mississippi State, 25th. I know Juan Vizale, Jackson Sutton, not happy about this one. They had a solid year last year. They lost early in Hoopsteria. They kind of returned the same. They returned the same core other than Josiah Townley. They have Terrell Pearson back. They have Darwin Cohen back, and I think they could have been a little higher. They can be in like that 18, 19 range. I think they're a little low. Michigan State was a team I had in the top 25 originally with Jai Edge coming back, and I wound up getting overruled on that one. There's 60 voters, so a lot were not in my favor on that one. Michigan State did go to the Super 16, and people are forgetting that it is Tom Izzo. Drayton, I don't want to hear it. And so there's been a lot of disagreements on these rankings. This is the closest to unanimous that you're going to get. It's based on votes, not based on everybody thinks this. And I think I just need to spread that wisdom out because there's some there's some teams that I'm not high on. St. John's, Louis Keyshawn Ship, they don't got that much going for them, and I thought they were rated pretty high. Oklahoma is a team that I'm higher on than others, and if you look all over the board, even a team like Memphis, I think that they're a top 5 team in SimWorld. You bringing back LDO, and I think we got Jackson State a little bit low too. So a lot of opinions on that front, at least for me. But then the All Americans have been released as well, and I want to talk about this because this was a difficult one. A lot of guys got votes, like 40 some odd players or 30 some odd players. I don't know the exact number, but it was a lot of players. And the rules are with voting that you do not get a maximum number of players you're allowed to vote for as a preseason All-American. You have to vote for a minimum of 5, and they do not give you a maximum. So if you see a lot of guys get 1, 2 votes, it means that they were they got a shout from a couple of media members. And so, for example, Jarrell Beauchamp got 1 vote. A couple guys had him. Terrell Pearson, same thing. Cole Webb, Jahi Hobson, Kamarion Goodyear, JWJ, Blaine Kidd. Zach Nichols wrote that article about him yesterday, and but then there's some guys who got a little bit more, like Keandre Baldridge had a couple, Benari had a couple, Damian Luffy. Not a lot of guys where you're gonna... How do I want to say this? I lost my train of thought for a second, ladies and gentlemen, but you don't have to vote for you can vote for as many guys as you want, and there's SimWorld Hoops deep this year. There's a lot of guys deserving. Corey Yams, that was the really difficult one for me. I was between him and Arthur Lattimore for that spot. I actually went with Corey Yams, but I don't think you can really go wrong with a guy like Lattimore. Justin Bell has to be there. D'Angelo Jordan. Bell's going to go for, I think, 20 points per game this year. And then LDO and Nas Hall felt pretty consensus. Fareed Redmond was a guy I was showing love to. He got a vote from me. Kadarius Loftus got a vote from me. Newly Cox got a vote from me. And the other one is the guy who I wrote the article about earlier today, Garrett Hart, got a vote from me on this one. And even Suno Chapa did. And there was 1 vote for Kai Killens. I will let you all know that right now that was myself, yours truly. Freshmen do not... I am a very firm believer that freshmen do not deserve All-American honors unless they are that special. And Kai Killens, you are that special, my friend. So I think he deserved at least 1 potential shout. I think he'll definitely be all SEC by the end of the season. So, but there's a lot of interesting names here. Lorenzo Phenom got 8 votes. Did he really deserve more than Newly Cox? No. Lorenzo Phenom's a bigger name. Newly Cox is a better player. So, Freddie Stonewall was the name that surprised me when I heard another name bring that up in that media room. I was a little bit surprised. I thought Royce Anderson was going to get some love. He's a little bit too inconsistent for my liking. So that's that. But I was very surprised to see some of those guys not get votes. Like Garrett Hart deserved to be there, and Trey Willis was a name that was floated around, but not all of these guys got votes because there are guys who are really good, but not every player is All-American caliber, and Trey Willis is a damn good guard in the SEC. He is not an All-American caliber guard just yet. He needs to take a step in the right direction. I think that both sides of that Florida duo with Tyshawn Eisen, even Tyshawn Penn, like these smaller school guys didn't get a lot of love. Jeziel Wright Johnson did because he averaged nearly 20 points per game last year. Same with Jason Tada. But it's a lot of big school guys who people expect to have bigger roles next year. Adonis Knight came off the bench for Kentucky last year. He gets a nod because he's their focal point. Same thing with Blaine Kidd. Same thing with Pierre DuPont. But they have Dexter Jackson next to him now, so I think that kind of adds a wrinkle to it. And even J.C. Graham, he got 3 votes. You know why J.C. Graham got 3 votes? Wake Forest sucked last year, but he was the only reason that team wasn't even worse. Skinny Washington has a floor general immediately, and I know Skinny's going to give him some burn quickly. And even Ethan Letterman was a name I was surprised to kind of see get snubbed. So when you're thinking about this, just remember there are media members that are voting on this, and a lot of people have a lot of different opinions. So don't assume that you know what's going on in someone else's head, and don't assume that everyone is just a sheep and believes the consensus, because let me assure you folks that it could not be further from the truth. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of the J-Rock Show. Kenyon Young going to be on the show next week, hoping to have Azunda Mazaka the week after, and then we'll get into some conference previews. So appreciate you all taking the time, folks. Remember, SimWorld, the only place you can see the game, be the game. Catch you next Friday.